Okay, we're on to our third match now. We're currently 2-0. Um, so we're currently shaping up to do. We're shaping up with a nice start. We're seeing some people have already dropped, most likely because I assume they're going to play a different event or they feel that they can't top and aren't super excited about playing 10 hours of vintage. Um, and we're going to snap keep this hand. So we have an Ancestral Recall. We have two protection spells. We have a Street Wraith to draw into a pile. We have a Preordain to find our Doomsday if our Ancestral doesn't. And we have a Dark Ritual to help accelerate out our Doomsday. Opponent's going Lotus Misty, so I'm not sure what that would normally indicate. Maybe like Bug, but Fastbond tells us it's probably one of the Hedron Crab based decks. And a couple of Elvish Reclaimers. So opponent's down to one card. And we kind of want to wait for them to fetch before we Ancestral. I'll attack it with a couple of Reclaimers. I'm not sure what the Bazaar indicates along with the Reclaimers. This almost makes me assume it's like a Dark Depth strategy at this point. So activate Bazaar to try and get... And okay, so there's the Dark Depths. So it is a Dark Depth strategy. And they're actually just trying to accelerate out their Elvish Reclaimers, which is fine. And we're just going to Ancestral. Draw 3 cards and hope to hit our Doomsday. Which we do not, but we get to Preordain. We have another turn anyway. Yep, so Doomsday's right there. And this is actually lethal. So the way this line works is we will cast a Doomsday. So we Ritual into Doomsday. And then we will Street Wraith to draw Gush. And then Gush will draw us Black Lotus and probably Gitaxian Probe at this point. Or maybe even Peak. I think I like Peak. So when we cycle Street Wraith, we go to 4 cards. When we Gush, we go to 2 cards, which means that the Oracle's already lethal and opponent has no cards in hand, so there's no chance of him interacting at any point here. And then Peak brings us to 1 card, and we don't need to stress about anything else. So we're just trying to figure out if there are any cards we want to hide in our library. Thassa's Oracle might be the best of those to hide, so he might think that we only have 1 Oracle. Alright, so I've chosen Gitaxian Probe over Peak. It doesn't make much of a difference from here. And we get to Oracle. Alright, so we're going to go on to game 2 now. And I'm not sure what we have for this. Like, Caracas for the Marit Lage for sure. We don't know if they're going to be on lock pieces, so I don't think we want to board in a stack of cards for lock pieces that we don't know will exist. I can't remember if we saw a wasteland. I think we did, so I think we want to be fairly land heavy. Flusterstorms hit Pyroblasts, and we did see a tiger. Um, so that's of relevance. And so I think it's just we're just being cautious about our boarding. We're trying not to overboard and load ourselves up with random nonsense that we're not even sure will actually do anything until we have a little bit more information. We will. Oh, God, this hand's weird. I can see keeping this. So we have a daze for protection. We're going to be able to vamp into probably our Oracle. And we can cycle a Street Wraith. So opponent's gone Lotus Tiger. 4 mana doesn't seem good for us. Now Life from the Loam is irrelevant. And we desperately want a Force of Will here. So I think we kind of want to conserve our land drops, or our coloured sources, I should say, and be a little bit careful. And my opponent's got Life of Loam and Wasteland, Life from the Loam and Wasteland here. So we need to do our best to play around that. Doomsday's a good rip. Given we can't actually, we probably won't be able to Oracle Consult. That's a 5 mana line under the sphere. Doomsday is only 4. And Ruby's fine. Okay, and this is perfect. So we haven't seen a strip mine. Opponent's only able to make 1 land drop a turn. And so we currently have 3 mana. Dark Ritual under a sphere will bring us to 4 mana, which is enough to cast Doomsday. We will get Wastelanded, but it might not actually matter here. The thing that's probably going to be worse for us is if opponent has a red elemental blast. So we probably need a double Oracle line here. Just in case the first one dies, and we'll probably chuck in, I don't know if we were meant to chuck in a basic island or a Lotus. So Lotus lets us... Oh, that is not a correct pile. Okay. And so basically what this pile is going to let us do is it's going to let us ignore Wasteland to some extent and be able to hopefully cast our Oracle next turn. So this pile is hedged a little with mana, just to mean that, you know, we're going to be able to play through other spheres, like more sphere effects more easily. It's only like Null Rod plus sphere might get really hard for us, but opponents probably going to have a bit of trouble getting that going. They draw Bazaar for turn, and they're activating Bazaar. They're obviously, I don't know what they're looking for. It must be a Pyroblast. which they obviously miss on because we know they have Wasteland left in hand and nothing else. As a result, we're now just going to cycle 2 Street Wraiths. Into our Oracle, and we'll just drop our Oracle into play, straight through the sphere. 2 cards left in library, and that will be the end of the match as soon as that resolves. We're now 3-0.